Yep. I'd like to call this meeting to order. It's a scheduled meeting of the Hartford Tourism Commission. We have Tina Savage, Michelle Price, Steve Volkert, and myself in attendance. Kate Carroll with the Chamber will not be able to attend tonight. Second item on the agenda, explanation of surplus room tax dollars. Steve?
Sure. So on an annual basis, we will collect somewhere in the range of $190,000, $185,000. You should have a copy of this. I believe I had given everyone. Michelle, did I give you a copy of this? Yes, you have it.
Yes.
But if you'd like a second copy, that'd be great. All right. So again, of those on the top of the list are automatically going to get money. And that's off the first of what we get. So the administration of the grant, the EDWC, the HADC, Visit Washington County, Hartford Municipal Airport, and new this year, automatically getting money is the Stoll competition. So that was $5,000 originally. That was going also to the municipal airport. But they, upon request, have decided to allocate some of those directly to the Stoll competition. So they're getting $5,000 less, and Stoll competition is getting that $5,000. Choir and band used to get funding. That was a thing from the prior mayor, but they never used it. So we pulled that back. And then the Veterans Memorial Aquatic Center. And then with money that's left over after those groups get their 1/4 of it, then the rest of the money goes over to the chamber, the bid, the shower center, the auto museum, and then there's a spare fund. So again, every quarter you see that here's where the money comes down. As you get further into the year, again, those on the bottom portion of this are getting a larger percentage. So in all, you can see what expected to get for the chamber, the bid, the shower center, the auto museum, and the spare fund. That's kind of the history of how we've gotten to where we are. So again, what we're looking at tonight is what to do with that spare fund. So we have roughly $5,000, and that's what we've allocated for tonight's vote, is $5,000 to be spent on anybody who applies, towards anyone who applies, and again, it meets the criteria for this. The criteria is the concept is that the item in question or the event in question has to be something new, has to move the needle on getting more people in beds. So as they say, heads in beds in tourism. And so this situation is that what they're presenting has to be something new, and also has to be something that, again, would not happen or assumed to be not happen if it was not for the funding. So with that, you have three applications. The first one, then I'll just go through them real quickly. Cub Air, and Steve is here from Cub Air. Daryl, is that you? Okay, cool. I couldn't see behind Steve. The second one is Hartford Area Chamber of Commerce, and they have a new spin on an event, and then also Hartford Basketball Club. You all received a copy of these applications, and so since Steve is here, we'll give him an opportunity. Steve, if you'd like to step up to the podium and just kind of talk about what your request is.
Thanks for the opportunity, everyone. I've had the pleasure of operating out of the Hartford Airport since right around 1982 is when I moved here. And I've been pretty much a 7-day-a-week resident out there since about 85 on. I started a flight school in 2004, and it has been very busy, very successful. If you've driven by the airport at any given day on a nice day, there's between 10 and 15 cars by the hangar every day. 4 years ago, we were approached by the National STOL organization, the Short Takeoff and Landing Organization. And this is an event for airplanes that started in Alaska and has taken over the country here like crazy. And they approached me 4 years ago to see if we would be interested in possibly hosting such an event. And after some consideration with some of the folks that are at the airport and with Daryl, we agreed to move forward with that. And it was a very successful event. We had probably something in the neighborhood of about 1,000 attendees for 2 days, 2.5 days. Some of them camped, some of them stayed in motels, a lot of them ate at the restaurants here in town. And when all was said and done, they loved Hartford and what it offered and the way they were received. They have told me on several occasions since that of all of the airports or the communities they go into for this event, Hartford was by far the most receptive, most friendly, and most fun place to go for this event. As a result, we are about to host our 4th annual National Stole Competition, and it's advertised as Sodbuster's Stole. And because we're in the middle of farm country, that's where it comes from. They have the Swampers Stole down in Louisiana, and I don't know what some of the other, there's the Mountain Stole out in Wyoming that they do later on this year. And each year it has grown. Last year we had something around 2,000, 2,200 people that were there for it. When we ran out of hotel or motel rooms in Hartford, we ended up shipping a bunch of them, transporting a bunch of them over to West Bend for rooms. And each year, well, the first 2 years I footed the bill. Well, the first year I footed the bill myself. It's about $10,000. The second year, I approached this city, and I received I think it was it $3,000? I think from the city out of the
4,500.
4,500. Is that what it was?
Yep.
4,500 for the second year. Third year, nothing. I had some help from Midwest Turbine, but for the most part, I paid for everything myself. And again, it still cost me about $10,000, $11,000 to put this on and do it the right way. Thanks to a lot of volunteers that help out with this, and thanks to some of the food vendors here in the city that come out and put up a food booth or a food truck on the event day, Saturday the 19th this year. So we're looking forward to having a really good event this year. It's been promoted nationwide, and looking forward to having a bigger and better attendance than we've ever had. And part of what draws people to this is that Hartford has always been a really good stopping off airport for people that are going to Oshkosh. And the big Oshkosh EAA AirVenture fly-in starts on the Monday following the Saturday event that we have here at Hartford. So a lot of the folks fly in here, hang out here Friday, Saturday, and partake in the event, and then go on up to Oshkosh on Sunday for the week-long international fly-in. So we get a very good attendance from flyer-inners, and overall, we continue to have it very well received. And part of why we're doing this, part of why I continue to do it, is that Hartford, even before we did the airport improvements out there in 2019, we had a great airport. Yeah, it was in need of some help. And in 2019, we got the federal funds, state funds, local funds to improve the airport. And it is a fantastic airport, not only in the state of Wisconsin, but nationwide. Again, the Stoll people continue to comment on, not only is the community the most friendly community, but this by far is the neatest, cleanest, finest, best preserved, best kept airport in all of the 8 or 10 or 12 airports that they hold events in nationally. So having aviation in my blood and having been doing it flying airplanes for 56 years now, I think, it's still in my blood. And whatever I can do to help promote the Hartford Airport and let people know what a great and well-kept secret we have in the area. You know what's interesting is that when we have events like this out there, people will come up and say, damn, this was really neat. And I never knew there was even an airport here. And I've lived here since 1994. It's a great airport. It's a well-kept secret. And a couple little tidbits of facts. There are airports throughout the state that either have a control tower, like Madison, Waukesha, Milwaukee, Timmerman, and then all of the rest of the airports are what they call uncontrolled or non-towered airports. We are considered, out of all the, 180 some airports in the state of Wisconsin right now, we are considered the second busiest non-tower airport in the state of Wisconsin. And I love having that reputation and being recognized in that fashion, because those of us that work out there and function out there and play out there are really proud of what we have, and we love to show it off. And if I could get a little more financial help, we could do a lot more with it, and thanks for the opportunity. Any questions on your part?
I do have a question.
Yes.
Thank you. Is this something in the future that you would expand instead of a one day?
What we're looking at, and it's a good question, what we're looking at is we would like to expand it into a 2 or 2.5 day event. And part of that would be other activities that we could have out there or support out there. We've looked at some different things. A couple years ago, well, when was it? No, this was back in when we hosted the Cubs to Oshkosh events. I don't think you were here for that yet, Steve, were you?
Yeah,
For the first one or the second one?
The second one.
Okay. But we hosted the 75th anniversary of the licensing of the first Piper J3 Cub. We had a Cubs to Oshkosh event here. And we had about 150 airplanes fly in from all over the United States and Canada that spent 4 or 5 days here. And then on Sunday, the opening day of Oshkosh, at sunrise, we, in honor of and recognition of the 75th anniversary, we launched 75 Cubs, one after the other in trail, and flew to Oshkosh. I called the tower. They asked me to call. Said, when the first one lifts off, call. When the last one lifts off, call. So I made the calls, and when the second one lifted off, I called him, and he started to laugh. Says, first one's just landing. Remember, Cubs cruise at about 80 miles an hour. So no, we had that event. We had some of the other area groups and activities. I think, what was it, what do they call themselves? The Rubicon Rats or whatever it is, the tractor group. Some of the car dealers, motorcycle dealer came out and had displays and events and activities and that kind of thing. We'd love to expand it much, much more, because it's a fantastic facility, and we'd love to see a lot more use of it. Any other questions?
Thank you. No, I think that's good.
Okay.
Super. No, thanks, Steve. Appreciate
Very good.
it.
Thanks.
You bet.
Thank you.
Daryl, were you expecting to get more cake here tonight, or? Okay. I don't see, again, Representative Ryan Rail, who said he was going to be here, has not shown up, so I would assume that he's not going to, or running late. I guess with that, I mean, you can move on to, again, discussion regarding what we have seen so far.
Do you just because we are not going to have a chamber representative. Do you want to just touch on what
Yeah,
the chamber's
sure.
looking
So the Chamber of Commerce is looking to put a new spin on the Christmas parade weekend. They're calling it Sugar and Spice Weekend. What they're looking to do is add additional opportunities for events and things to do while you're in Hartford for the intention of trying to get people not only to come here in the morning for the pancake breakfast and the craft fair that goes on over at the high school, and then shopping downtown, the parade that goes on. Again, this is the second Saturday of November, and then normally people will have dinner and leave. So they're looking to do more things that, again, through activities. This includes either bowling at Dave's Lanes, going over to the Hatchet House, brewery tours at Brewdoman when they're up and running with the new brewery, dinner specials, other activities throughout the community at Board and Brush, the Shower Center enrichment classes, hand-picked stained glass classes, sourdough bread and starter workshops over at Daily Bread. So things throughout the community to get people to come for not only just one day, but multiple days. And so in this situation, while it is a spin of an existing event that has been going on, obviously a very successful event with the Chamber of Commerce, but again, it's a spin to try to get people to stay overnight and stay longer for that day. The third application, the Hartford Basketball Club. Again, they've been putting on winter Hartford basketball tournaments for several years. In their proposal, they show they've been doing it for 14 years. This includes 2 tournaments that they have. Those are normally 3-day tournaments. And I know from past experience, again, these are winter tournaments. So again, a lot of times people will stay overnight at the hotel. Probably not one of your better nights. I mean, it's packed, but it's an awful lot of high school girls.
An awful lot of work.
Yeah. So anyways, but it is obviously an activity that, again, brings a lot of people to the community. Sports tourism is one of the biggest tourist attractions in Wisconsin. And sports tourism can be as small as a Little League tournament to a soccer tournament to whatever that is. When they think of sports tourism, you're thinking Milwaukee, Green Bay, even Madison. But sports tourism can be huge in any community, and it is here too. We have a ton of soccer tournaments here, basketball tournaments, baseball and softball tournaments that are here that keep people here for multiple days. So, a good event. It's not new, but they have never received money from us in the past. So. Again, as you notice that they believe that they're going to be losing some money, I believe it's through the schools, and so they're looking to recapture some of the lost money. They have requested $12,445. Of course, that's not how much we have to give out. We have $5,000 total to give out. So those are the 3 proposals. Any questions on the other proposals?
Could you just touch on the options that we have for
Yeah.
dispersing this?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's two things you can do. You can go all in on one of the proposals. There's actually 3 things. You can go all in on one of the proposals, give all $5,000 to one organization. 2 is you can split it up any way you want. As in 2023, we gave Cub Air Flight $4,500 for Stoll competition. And we also gave the mill $500 for a new event they were doing, which was Oktoberfest block party back then. The third thing is you can do none of the above. If none of them fit the criteria of what you're trying to accomplish, then you can, again, just hold that money over. The $5,000 will roll over to next year. And again, you'll have more money to give out next year.
I have a question on the basketball tournament.
Yeah.
Is this a public tournament or is this a private tournament where the families pay to attend the tournament? Because I couldn't find any of that information in the application.
I believe it's a situation where I do not know if they have to pay to come watch their kids play. I think it's normally like a minimal fee, like $2-3 to go watch your kid play in a tournament. So kids,
To get the students in the tournament,
You
like
do.
there's
Yeah, so it's from,
Yeah, because there's
You do
all
have to
those
pay.
private
Yep.
leagues that
Correct.
parents are paying a lot
lot
of
of money.
money.
yep, and
That's
teams,
not what that is. But they do have to pay, but it's not to that expense
Okay,
of what you're talking about,
okay.
right?
yeah, these teams come from all over the state to play in the tournament. And
Correct.
again, I keep looking at you because I know,
Yes.
again, last year during one of the tournaments, there was a snowstorm, and a bunch of them were all staying in your place, and they were
Where?
coming from west of Madison, because I was
Mm-hmm.
eating there that night and noticed that there was an awful lot of teenage girls there, which means I had to get the heck out of there.
Okay.
The other thing I was going to do was just ask each of you, of the three, what your feelings were on that, and then maybe we can come to a consensus together on where to go from there.
Michelle?
I feel like the most people that are coming and staying in the hotels are the basketball tournament and Club Air. I don't see people staying overnight for the parade or those activities. So my vote would be for either one of those.
Yeah, I would like to know where the marketing is going for the activities before the parade. Like, how are we marketing that? How are we drawing those guests into Hartford to stay?
Were you going to have some input too, or did you want to have some input too? Because
No.
you do get to vote.
I am a voting member, yeah. So, again, there's a couple thoughts that I had. Again, Stoll, it's a proven commodity. We know that it brings people in. It's great to see that it's building. It's not new, but again, if it continues to grow, hopefully it brings more people to the community, right?
Correct.
And not only to the hotel, because if we're booked out, we're booked out.
Correct.
If he's sending people to West Bend, I mean, that still helps their economy. But it's also the restaurants and things like that where people will come and eat here. The only caveat to that, again, it's not a new event, but and then also they're currently getting $5,000 new money this year alone. The chamber, again, a new spin on an additional current event, untested as far as will actually people stay overnight. We don't know that. They're used to coming in the morning, staying the day, eating 2, maybe 3 meals, and then they leave. And they do also get money, much like, again, Stoll, they already are getting money. The chamber gets $45,000 roughly a year. The basketball, I know it's a proven commodity. It is not a new event. But again, it does bring people to the community overnight. So that being said, I threw out an option, which might be the very diplomatic way to do it, is everyone gets something, meaning the basketball, unfortunately, Ryan's not here to talk more about it. We could assist with $1,000 of the $5,000. Stoll, again, already getting $5,000. We could add an additional $1,000 onto it. I assume that would help in some way. And the Chamber of Commerce, their first event, give it a shot, giving them upwards of $3,000. But again,
Yes.
after hearing from you, I'm willing to bend on any one of those.
I mean, we're definitely willing to give to the chamber, I mean, just to see where this is going and give it a chance. I mean, you have to start somewhere,
Yep.
and it could help them also with marketing. So, I mean, I do believe that we should split it up.
Do you have numbers in mind?
I am actually thinking maybe 1,000 for the chamber, especially because we already give.
Okay.
And the remaining 4,000?
Guess my suggestion would be 3,000 for the airport. And then the remaining for,
And 1,000 for the basketball?
yes.
I agree with Tina.
You're good?
Yep.
Dennis, you do vote here.
So I was basically going to reiterate some of the same thing. I like to spread it out as well. Each of these three events, I think, are worthwhile to support to some extent. And the fact that they took the time to apply for this.
Correct.
And, for their venue to help them do
help
it.
them, right.
I think, in and of itself is worth something. I kind of like the 1,000 to the chamber. And I was leaning more towards maybe 2,500 for basketball and then the remainder for Cub Air. So I think it's a matter of hammering down
Right.
numbers. To where
Cub Air does bring a lot of people into town, not only heads and beds, but in our restaurants. So, and that's only growing. So if we can get that growing also, we would do better as a community.
So if you take the proposals that have been provided so far, you're averaging about, in basketball, you're averaging about 2,000, in the chamber, 2,000, and in Stoll, 2,000 also. So you're about, which direction do you want to go?
I guess my only thing was we haven't given the basketball money before. So I was kind of willing to try a little bit more on that one to give them a better shot. So I was thinking, again, maybe 2,500 to them.
Do we have numbers, what they're projected to bring in? How many teams are coming?
Yeah.
It's 64 teams.
Yeah.
So that's quite
And
a few.
that's signed up?
Yes.
That is
correct.
signed up?
Yeah.
Okay.
The way he divided it in the proposal was how far away they were coming to come here.
Okay.
And what was it? The first 40 teams were within, was it 50 miles or 100 miles?
I think it was 50 miles.
And then the remaining 20 so teams were over 100 miles away. So he said they usually don't advertise to get people from that far away to come. But he said, hey, if they're willing to come and, we're willing to support it, they'll give it a shot. So I think us giving them money is going to try and push that so that would be, the people obviously further away would want to stay, as opposed to the people closer by would just, go back home.
Right.
So,
To go over that, what you just mentioned, combined, our tournaments bring in about 3,000 from outside our community. We host 64 teams. 19 of these teams travel over 60 miles, with several teams traveling over 100 miles, ranging from Green Bay, Ashwaubenon, De Pere, as well as several others. Historically, we have not prioritized engagement with traveling teams going forward, and if grant money is received, they would pledge to further prioritize attracting teams from greater distances of travel.
And so they are not funded from the high school?
It does not sound like that, no.
Okay. 'Cause that would be something interesting to know, if they're funded from the high school too.
But
And
it
that would
sounds like-
It
be,
says that they have to rent the gym from the high school, so it doesn't sound that way.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's actually an expense, so.
Let's see, once, I thought I did say something about the fact, they also mentioned that they would help to set up room blocks at the Hartford hotels to track transit overnight stays. Yeah, it does not look like as though they're getting money from the
funded,
schools.
okay.
So I guess I kind of ended up at 2,000 for basketball and then 1,500 to the chamber and 1,500 to the Cub Air. So I guess I was just looking for your guys' input on what you think.
I would be fine with that.
I'm okay with that,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm okay with that. So that's your motion?
That would be the motion.
You have a motion, and thus you are going to ask if you have a second, right?
I was going to do that next, but it sounded like you were going to say something else.
Nope, I'm good. This chair keeps falling on me.
So is there a second?
Yes, a second.
Tina, a second. Any further discussion on the matter?
Nope, I'm good.
I think we did pretty well on
I
it.
think we did too.
All right. All right, so all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, thanks.
I was
for
late
the
on that one.
late response there. Hearing none, motion passes.
One thing I would suggest, Steve, is next year, every year, because you now have a spot every year getting some of the money from the airport, is every year ask the airport to designate more and more of the funds, if that would help you. So if the airport next year gave you 6,000, we wouldn't put you a part of this group anymore, but you just continue to look at that the airport would get the same amount, the 42,000, of which you're going to get 5 this year, maybe 6 next year, and so on, and just grow it that way.
That would really help.
Yeah.
Cool.
Steve. One thing I failed to mention here, and it came to mind when you asked about how these different events are marketed.
Correct.
We heavily use local media, our radio stations here, West Bend news outlets, there's a couple of those. EAA has been very gracious to publish this event in some of their online event coverage and things. So we try to, and our big electronic sign in front of
Right.
the building.
Even like creating like a little map.
Per month in July. So
Yeah, just like creating a little map too of our city, just to let these guests know, like where they can attend, where the activities are, what is around. You know, I mean, that would help to draw some people into Hartford.
is there anything like that that exists right now from either hotels, restaurants, or chamber that,
Yeah, I mean, we all have like rack cards and like different brochures. I mean, everybody does in Hartford, but just to come up with maybe a little map.
one of the things that we thought about here was if we could, with some of the food facilities here in town, if we had some kind of a, $5 off coupon or something if you spend $20 at wherever.
Yeah, and that could be included in the map,
Yeah,
just to bring more people into our city.
yeah.
I mean, we have a lovely city to offer, and we have so much to offer, you know, instead of kind of like, right, exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The one,
But I have a 40-year background in marketing before I went airplanes full-time, so.
There you go.
during the meeting?
All right, if nothing else, we'll stand adjourned to the call of the chair.
Fabulous.